What's up YouTube, Byrdman here with another Outriders Devastator build. Today I'm going to be showing off an awesome new firepower build. Before I get into the video, I'll let you know I'm more likely streaming right now over on Twitch, twitch.tv/Byrdman778. Catch me every single day over there, starting at noon Eastern Standard Time. We do viewer runs. I'm going to be doing some Destiny, some Borderlands, different stuff like that, so swing on by. If you like the video, make sure you're giving it a thumbs up, subscribing to the channel. The subscribing and thumbs up are like two of the biggest things you can do to help me out here on YouTube, but also becoming a member could help us out a lot as well. We might be swapping over to YouTube soon for our streaming platform, so definitely be one of the first people to do that. And also catch me over on Twitter, twitter.com/Byrdman778 for some super subpar tweets and awesome tweets, subpar tweets that are awesome. Anyway, let's get into the video. Now, I mentioned this is an awesome little firepower build. I actually got a lot of this inspiration from another fellow YouTuber, Twitch content creator, Nick2. I checked out his dev firepower build, and it was really kind of chunky. I kind of made some changes myself that I thought worked for it personally, and just things I enjoy myself. So make sure you're checking out him as well. But for this one, we used an AR with Dark Sacrifice and Gravedigger's Frenzy. Dark Sacrifice mainly because it gives us a huge weapon boost, but also Gravedigger's just because we get a higher critical chance. My AR had armor piercing, which I think is really important for this, but it also has close range damage, which is really nice just because we're really going to be kind of leaning on close range damage a lot in this build. You're going to get some obscene damage numbers with this, but this AR is absolutely insane. Definitely recommend doing a TAC AR versus a regular one. You can always change it over at Zahidi if you want to make it into a tactical variation. Now, another weapon that is amazing for this is the Fatal Symbiote. It also has Dark Sacrifice with that armor piercing. We really love it. This is probably the best SMG in the game, if not, I dare say, the best legendary in the entire game. But we added one of the best perks in the game as well to this, and that is the ultimate damage link. Shots link up to 4 enemies, sharing 40% of their weapon damage dealt and 20% anomaly. Again, I mentioned that these two actually might be the two best perks in the entire game for weapons. Ultimate damage link is absolutely busted. We're going to be doing a video kind of covering good mods here in a little bit, but at least know for now, this is going to be one of your best mobbing scenario weapons, one of your best single target. This might just be the best weapon for the build, but if you want to get some obscene damage numbers constantly, definitely use the TAC AR with Dark Sacrifice. Now for our armor, I ended up transmogging a lot of stuff on this, so I use the Death Proof set for this entire build. The Death Proof set is going to be necessary for this. Our first part, we have one with Primal Weakness on it and Personal Space. The Personal Space, gaining that 25% damage to close range targets is really nice. We really lean again on that in this build. You're going to be noticing damage numbers being a lot chunkier up close and personal, so make sure you have this Personal Space mod on. But Primal Weakness is also awesome just because it strips the resistances from enemies when we hit them with Boulder Dash. We're going to be always Boulder Dashing with this build, so this is definitely a solid perk. Next up, we have Death Proof chest piece with Bloodlust and Primal Armor. We added Bloodlust on there as a tier 2 perk just because it boosts up our firepower after getting killing shots. I really enjoy having this. It's stacked on with another mod I'm going to show here in a second, but Primal Armor might be one of the most important mods in this entire setup because it doubles our armor whenever our skill of Boulder Dash ends. We really rely on Boulder Dash for this build because of the Death Proof set, the fact that we get 90% cooldown on our Boulder Dash plus a 15% firepower boost based on our armor. Whenever our armor is doubled, that means firepower is getting essentially added on to right then and there. So this is a very pivotal skill. Next up, we're using the Death Proof leg piece with Primal Chain Gun. Absolutely one of the most necessary perks. And this might be the best firepower Devastator perk in the entire game just because every enemy that is hit by our Boulder Dash will increase our weapon damage by 15% for 10 seconds and it stacks 5 times. By just activating Boulder Dash, this immediately activates as well. So even if you're like in a scenario where you're just fighting like a singular boss, you're at least going to be constantly getting that weapon damage by just activating it, especially if you're just trying to stay back from them. Something like that, this will definitely benefit you. But the second perk is Sharp Eye. Killing enemies while aiming down sights grants us firepower for 20 seconds, stacks up to 3 times. This is kind of like that that extra perk for Bloodlust, essentially just knowing that we're going to be boosting our firepower to obscene heights. Next up, I use the Gauntlets, the Cannonball with Captain Hunter on it and Death's Door. Death's Door is a really solid perk just because it doubles our armor whenever we drop below 35% health. This is kind of like a almost like an emergency stance for us, just because it's going to double that armor for us, essentially ensure our firepower is going to go up, pretty much telling us when we have low health, we're going to be dealing a crap ton of damage. So make sure you're using Boulder Dash to double it up again, and you'll be just absolutely smacking everybody with this. And finally, we have the Death-Proof foot gear. I picked this because I really enjoy this perk, Life of the Party. Incoming damage reduced by 3% for each enemy in close range, stacks up to 8 times. It incentivizes close range there, which is going to work with another perk we have in our skill tree. So again, just staying up close and personal to enemies is definitely going to be beneficial for us. But we also have that mitigation from death, so that we gain armor whenever we kill an enemy while aiming down sights. Armor is going to transfer into firepower. Firepower means everyone's going to die. For skills for this build, absolutely has to have Boulder Dash. You need it for all those perks. I run Reflect because of a perk that we're going to have in our skill tree. So essentially, this Gravity Leap down here is all up to you at the end of the day. I like Gravity Leap just because I'm able to use it to maneuver around the battlefield. It works with a perk that we're going to have in our skill tree. But other things that I could definitely recommend is Endless Mass if you're wanting to group people up together. You could even possibly take off mitigation from death or death's door from the build and add something to work with Endless Mass if you wanted to. You could always do Tremor, same kind of idea. There's a perk that boosts weapon damage with Tremor, so you could always put that on. But if you're wanting to just like chunk up your armor as much as humanly possible and kind of have a perk that's just like free to use, definitely go with that idea. And then I would again say Gravity Leap, really great for just mobility. Finally, in our skill tree, we're obviously going to be going top tree for this. We are going to be cutting here in the middle a little bit, get some extra perks. We'll talk about that here in a second. First off, we're going to be going to all these Havocs here, here, and here within the skill tree just for the extra damage. We went into this one armor breaker here. You can always go into these other 2 in here, but our weapons have armor piercing in them as is. So we're already going to be benefiting from that. So there's really not a need, but I mean, if you want some extra chunky damage, that is always applicable. We go into this brawler here and here for that extra close range damage. Again, close range is kind of a big part of this build, so staying in the thick of it as much as humanly possible is necessary. Next, we have Assault Adept for the extra assault weapon damage. We go into Champion, and that's what we're going to be using Reflect for, getting that 45% weapon damage whenever we activate a Reflect. Thankfully, because of Reflect and how it works, we're able to just like turn it on and off real fast and get that cooldown for it almost instantaneously, essentially ensuring we're going to be having 45% weapon damage constantly while we are fighting. Now, when we cut down through here in the middle, we got our Heirloom Armor right here. When an enemy dies in close range, 20% of their armor is transferred for 10 seconds. This is awesome. Again, it uses the words close range because that feeds into this perk right here. Stone Circle, extend the distance considered to be close range by 4 meters. This is really nice because it's going to work for those perks within our skill tree. That's going to work with the ones on our armor mods and just close range damage in general, ensuring that we have a larger field around us where we can do more damage. And obviously, just to get down in there, we have this one Colossus for 10% extra max health. Next up, we got Bullseye for the extra crit damage because that's going to work really, really well with our AOR, especially since you kind of want to focus on crits as much as humanly possible with that. Your AR is going to kind of be like your brood mother. You're kind of like your big boss. It's like big damage weapon. So I definitely recommend using that. Because it also works with Assault Master here, increase assault weapon damage by 20%, and then we obviously get more chances of getting assault weapons from things, but we just mainly want that damage. We're going to both these Dry Them Outs for an extra 10% weapon leech. This is huge for our survivability for the build, getting our health back. And also another kind of survivability kind of damage output perk is Bounty Hunter. I really do like Bounty Hunter because getting that 15% extra to elites is really nice, and the fact that they do less damage to us is nice. Things like behemoths, like alphas and all that stuff that kind of like attack you relentlessly. This is going to be really nice to have a little bit extra damage mitigation for yourself. Bulletstorm for an extra little bit of reload speed, and then going into confrontation, getting meleeed by enemies, essentially making sure they're doing less damage to us, and if we're damaging them, it's even doubled there. Really solid again against alphas, against behemoths, things that are going to be just staying in your face all the time and giving you no room to breathe, essentially ensuring, again, more damage mitigation. Mitigation. And finally, Altered Charge. When kinetic skill ends, increase your weapon damage by 70% for 10 seconds. We're always doing that with Boulder Dash as is, but this is where Gravity Leap can kind of come in and help you out. If you're kind of in a scenario where you're too far back from enemies and you really just want to like get quickly in the thick of it, you can always activate this and know that as soon as you hit the ground, you're getting that 70% extra weapon damage. Thank you so much for stopping by this video and checking out this build. I'm really excited about this one just because this is the one I've been mainly using on my Twitch channel for like the past week. It chunks everything. I'm always at the top of the damage leaderboards, even against like technos using blighter rounds and stuff like that. It's absolutely insane. This is where I really like Devastator because we don't have to rely on certain like perks and stuff like that kind of just like chunk out one specific part of our damage. Again, blighter rounds, twister rounds, volcanic rounds, we don't need any of that. We have a build that can essentially do that on its own and stay up to date with everyone else. So also has great survivability, and we were able to abuse the best parts of Devastator. So this might be my new favorite build. I absolutely love it. This is amazing. But if you guys like the build, make sure you're checking out my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Byrdman778. Catch me every single day starting at noon Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you're giving a thumbs up and subbing over here on YouTube. Again, that helps out so much for the algorithm and all that stuff, but also becoming a member helps me out as well. And then finally, find me over on Twitter, twitter.com/Byrdman778 for some super subpar tweets and bad takes. Now, thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you have a great night, day, whatever it may be.